Hey Dumplings, it's Dave Decide. Today I want to get into a moment where it was believed Jimin was targeted by a staff member and V got upset. I also want to get into HYBE taking legal action on a privacy case that we got an update on, and I also wanted to get into BTS's home posted online. So hater or not, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell on. Grab your dumplings, see spelling mug march, let's get into it. The first thing that I wanted to talk about is something kind of exciting and kind of bad. Let me give some backstory first. BTS films a lot of reality shows, and in these shows they are all similar in their own way. They all demonstrate the boys in their day-to-day life, and unlike American reality shows, the Korean K-pop idol shows are not filled with the drama. With American reality shows like Big Brother or documentary style shows, the producers sometimes will feed lines or instigate certain things to create drama and make the show more interesting. Things the producers will say are, "Did you know so-and-so said this about you?" And then they just watch what happens and they record it. Or they'll do things like only feed the cast once a day and not let them sleep much. This way the people on the show are constantly on edge and dramatic. And if you watch a lot of reality shows, you'll see how they get so angry so easily, and it's all created by the staff. BTS's reality shows feel different and more quote-unquote boring because it's not done in this way and it's done ethically. They simply just record BTS's life and they show the more boring parts of them sleeping or them cooking dinner together or just them taking a hike. The specific show I am talking about is In the Soup. BTS has 2 official seasons out of the whole group, so if you're missing BTS together and haven't binged the season yet, then give it a watch. If you want to join me, I have reacted to both seasons on Patreon. I'll link my Patreon below. Please check it out and let's fangirl together. You also get to see the very impressive difference between the first season and the second. The first season, the boys rented out what is typically used as a wedding venue, I believe. I think the location is public, and if you have the money, you can also rent it out on Airbnb for almost $800 a night. And this could also explain why BTS only did a few nights. They weren't about to blow their entire budget on just the location, but it's gorgeous. I was surprised to see, based on the Airbnb photos, that there were definitely parts of the home that were not included in season 1. We didn't see too much of the shed, I don't think, and of course there was no way we were going to see the luxurious bathroom as they couldn't put cameras in there. But for season 2, HYBE stepped up. This was around the time they introduced their company as not only a label but also a real estate company too. So they literally built a home for that season, and they built a mansion for BTS to live in for a few days. People were definitely wondering what HYBE was going to do with the space after it was built, because it was so big, and they would tear it down after BTS was only there for a week, or would BTS keep it as a summer home? They already have several luxury apartments they use. Or since HYBE is a real estate company, would they rent it out for people? And it seems like the latter is a choice they considered. Airbnb just tweeted out saying that the second season home will be listed on Airbnb to rent for a day, and we have the ability to do that on August 1st at 7 p.m. PTD, and only for $7 a night. But before you run over to Google or to Airbnb and try to find the listing, it appears that it will only be for one night. They mentioned it for August 29th, and obviously $7 represents 7 members. Someone asked Airbnb's social media manager on Twitter if it's a one-time promotion, but the home will still be eligible for renting out the other nights. And they replied saying it was only for one night, but I think they misunderstood, because I think what ARMY wants to know is if it will be available at all to rent regardless of the price. Because if it's $1,000 a night, then I'm sure I can find 7 people to rent that place with me, and that's a much affordable price. And I don't see why it wouldn't be, because HYBE wouldn't have anything else to use the property for. So good luck. I sense that the booking situation is going to be a bloodbath. If you're gunning for that specific $7 night, if you have trouble getting concert tickets, then I don't think you'd be able to get this one. But try anyway, because if Airbnb booking does get canceled and it's their fault, I believe Airbnb gives you a $1,000 travel voucher. But you'll have to double check those terms and conditions. I am not a lawyer and I can't read sometimes. Some people were upset over this as they feel like if BTS still lives there, this could invade their privacy. But obviously it's being listed on Airbnb. The members are not going to live there anymore. But the location of the place is now revealed. I'm sure once people live there, someone will post the address, but even though you can't book it yet, Airbnb has this glitch where if you scroll down to the map, and it won't give you the location, but it will give you a ballpark. which still makes it easier for Sasaengs to find the location if they just drive around. But since it's revealed to the public, I don't know how vacant the area would be. And I would imagine security cameras are at least there. So if you did not book, you can't just show up and look around. So that's not a huge concern. Also, I don't think anything private or sensitive would be left behind by BTS members. So honestly, they're okay. Concerns over privacy make a lot of sense, but at this point, I would imagine there is a specific team that is dedicated towards idol safety, and maybe even a team that is hired to specifically do that. HYBE has stepped up their security given the several times they've gotten backlash for it. There was even an instance a little while ago where Jungkook was accused of dating his tattoo artist. This issue went so big that the tattoo shop had to close for a bit. The girl got bullied so much, and it was just so bad. I think the reputation of the tattoo shop got ruined. Maybe Google reviews or something, I don't know, but it was really bad. I think HYBE ended up taking legal action for both sides, and the only reason the rumor occurred was basically because someone leaked CCTV footage of Jungkook giving the tattoo artist a hug. HYBE mentioned that they will take legal action and continue to take legal action on people who leak private information or invade the idol's privacy. Leaking things like phone numbers or addresses are clear violations. But then there are some gray areas that are just more private moments. These things can still be a violation because if Jungkook is not in a public space, then these photos cannot be taken without permission, and security footage is not allowed to just be widely spread like that. It's simply made just for the reason of security. And this footage usually gets deleted after a certain time. So I'm glad that HYBE is doing something about that. Not too long ago, there was another instance in which BTS members were scared for their privacy and safety. A little backstory here is that Jimin gets a lot of hate, and I think a lot of it is just because they're an easy target. Jimin is very well loved, and when people tweet anything about him, it can typically go viral online. So when it's quite disturbing things, it will go even more viral versus when the same thing might be said about another member or person. Jimin was receiving death threats not too long ago, and it was quite painful to see that he was getting that and there was no actual scandal that he was a part of. Never sent any death threats, but you can obviously expect them if you're in a scandal. But Jimin was not a part of any of that. It was just people who wanted to see the group fail. That happened a lot, and I think that the members knew about it, or it was even a topic of conversation within the company. And the company can hide these things for only so long. They can, without a word, just up security, but at a certain point, they have to let the idol know because they have to make sure the idol isn't putting themselves in positions to get more hurt by either staying out too long or whatever. And of course, if this was said, then you bet that either Jimin or the other members could have looked online to see. There was a moment where the members were at an airport and they were making their way to their plane. I think this was before they did charter flights and they were still doing commercial flights. A woman came up and gestured to BTS to keep walking down. And this is important for them to do, as if the boys stay anywhere too long, the crowds will just get bigger, and that's a fire hazard. So the girl walked up to BTS and immediately sugar pushed Jimin back, as they seemed to have thought that this was a stalker or a fan, when she didn't really move any closer, and then gestured V to keep moving. V gave her a look and kind of stared her down. He had a mask on, so no one knew what he said, but people believe that he might have said something to her because he might have been scared that people were trying to attack or hit Jimin. And it was believed to be even more weird that BTS didn't recognize the staff, because if they were someone that BTS had hired and made the trip with them to the airport, then BTS would have known who she was, but they seemed really confused why this random woman was gesturing for them to go and who she was. Some people were wondering if she was just a random person. Maybe she got hired that afternoon and then quit, but no, I don't think BTS or V were rude to her or were offended or super scared. I think they were just more cautious because of everything that happened online. But what do you think? Do you believe that the staff was hired and then quit that day, which is why BTS didn't know her? Do you think V said something to her? I don't really. And what do you think about the In the Soup home that is being put on Airbnb? Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link down below. There's this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.